Hello, it's another edition of Wisdom Walks today, and we are diving into the topic of indulgence. What does indulgence mean? How can we harness the pleasure practice of allowing ourselves to indulge a little bit more? We're going to dive right in. All right, maybe you have heard of the term guilty pleasure before. They kind of go against each other, guilty and pleasure. Hard to have true pleasure when we are feeling guilty. We're going to dive into the topic of indulgence and what that means. And as I was preparing for my year this year, I like to pick a word. So I go through a meditation experience and I allow a word to actually come to me rather than me picking it. And as I'm doing the meditation, the word that comes to me was indulgence. And when it first came to me, I had resistance. No, not indulgence. I'm restricting myself. I'm restricting my calories right now. I'm restricting my bad habits right now. And I thought, no, indulgence can't be my word. It's the opposite of what I've been doing. And I think that's exactly why Spirit brought me the word indulgence, so that we could allow ourselves to lean in a little bit and see if I could maybe shift some of the energy around the guilt that I feel when I'm experiencing pleasure. Has that happened to you when you feel bad because you're having that ice cream, or you feel bad because you're allowing yourself a treat, whatever that treat might be, treating yourself to a trip, treating yourself to an experience, whatever it might be? So when we think about the word indulgence, for me, it had actually a negative connotation. It was that guilty pleasure. And that indulgence came with being too much. That if I was indulging, I was doing something that I shouldn't be doing, that I was getting too much that I didn't deserve. And so for many of us, and you can probably relate to this, this idea that indulgence comes with guilt. We want to get rid of that. We want to shatter that. And so let's talk about the ways that we can create more indulgence, and we can redefine what indulgence means to us. So, true indulgence. What does true indulgence really look like? What does it mean? Right? Indulgence is permission. Indulgence is giving ourselves permission to feel good. It is conscious pleasure. So being present in the body while we're having an experience, that's what indulgence actually means. It means allowing ourselves to be fully present, to experience the goodness in the moment. And it's also about actually removing the guilt. So no more guilty pleasure, everybody. Just pleasure, okay? This is our permission to simply being alive. Pleasure's not a luxury. Pleasure is actually a nervous system signal to the body. When you are in pleasure, it means that you're safe. It says to your body, I'm okay, I'm here, and I'm alive. So how can we create more of this pleasure for ourselves? What are we going to do about that, right? Well, the first thing is to upgrade the ordinary. What I mean by this is that, say you're sitting down to have a tea. Maybe you light a candle to have with your tea. Maybe you are having to clean the house. Maybe we add some music. So the rule here to upgrade the ordinary is to make it 10% better, just 10% better. How can I make this moment a little bit better? So that's the first thing that we're going to do to create more indulgence and more pleasure in our lives. The next thing is about shedding some of the guilt. This is a tough one, but if we're experiencing pleasure and there's guilt attached, it's not as pleasurable, right? And so many of us have been taught that being in indulgence is bad, right? Again, it's clearing away some of these old beliefs and imprints. So if we believe that indulgence or pleasure is unsafe, that we have to earn that ability to have pleasure, then what happens is we're basically taking away the value of that indulgence or of that pleasure. So here's the thing. When we want pleasure, when we create pleasure for ourselves, this is not taking away from anybody else. And this is an important one because for me, this is what came up for me. If I'm experiencing joy, if I receive that abundance, and if I receive that prosperity, if I receive that experience, I thought I was taking it away from someone else. We're not. In fact, we're contributing to the greater good of society because when we are in pleasure, when we're receiving true pleasure, when we're allowing ourselves to fully embrace this piece of indulgence, actually what happens is that pleasure, that vibration, that actually positively impacts everyone around us because it increases our frequency. So here's the thing. When you are lit up, when you're regulated, when you're nourished, you show up in a more loving, nurturing way for others. That's the reality. Pleasure is not a distraction. It's not a distraction at all. In fact, pleasure is a fuel for our purpose. And so allowing ourselves to experience that, it's icy here, allowing ourselves to experience that enables for this increase in vibration. It allows you to actually regulate your system as well. So much here, right? Okay, the third piece here around creating more indulgence or a practice of pleasure is around letting your body lead. Your mind can absolutely talk you out of it. Oh no, I better not have that whipped cream on my hot chocolate. Oh no, I better not have that ice cream treat. And I'm talking food here, but this can apply to everything, right? Oh, I better not take that trip. It's too expensive, you know? And so here's the question to ask yourself, because your body's gonna guide you. Your body does know. It's our mind that oftentimes gets in the way. And I'm not saying let your mind tell you to, go and have a pack of cigarettes or drink 10 cups of coffee. That's not what we're talking about here. Again, we're talking about conscious presence in the experience and allowing the experience in the moment be indulgent. Does that make sense? Okay. So you can ask yourself the question, what would feel good right now? What would feel good for me right now in this experience, in this moment? It doesn't have to be productive. It doesn't even have to be very responsible. And it doesn't have to be impressive. It just has to feel good. And so follow what feels good. Ask yourself, what can I do that would allow myself to feel good right now? Pleasure is a spiritual practice at the end of the day. And so encouraging you to allow yourself to lean into this beautiful pleasure practice. So when we kind of come back to this idea of indulgence, we recognize that there is so much for us here in the present moment. So to be indulgent means that I am consciously present. To be indulgent means that I give myself permission to enjoy the pleasure without guilt, without shame. It allows me to lean into what my body is calling me to do. It's going to allow me to have the highest vibrational frequency possible. So this is your invitation to lean in to some indulgent practices. And it doesn't mean go to the extreme and lose yourself. It actually means be present, be alive. So indulgence does not mean, it doesn't mean escaping. It doesn't mean overdoing it. It doesn't mean that you are too much. Indulgence means that you are giving yourself permission to be fully alive. It's allowing you to experience joy. And guess what? Your joy, not a threat to the rest of the world. Your pleasure, not a threat to the rest of the world. In fact, again, your joy and your pleasure increase the vibration of this world. And it also allows your system to come into a more regulated state. Wow, isn't that amazing? And so I invite you and encourage you to allow yourself to indulge in being alive. You are here. You are worthy of all of the experiences. This is why God put you here, so that you could experience everything, that you could indulge in this humanness. Yes? And so thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that this landed for you. I hope that it's gonna shift something inside of you. in a really big way. Thank you so much for tuning into these wisdom walks. And I want to express to you, sorry, it's very icy here. See, it's all ice. I'm indulging in in the cold and the ice right now. Just allowing myself to be in this experience. But again, I want to thank you all. Please tune in to our monthly spirit lines we have online on Zoom every month, second Wednesday at noon Mountain Time. We have amazing guest speakers with tons of insights. And of course, we have our podcast, When Spirit Calls. Tune into that. If you enjoy these wisdom walks, please tune in to some of the other platforms that we have available to you. Until next time, be well. Have a great, great month, everybody. We'll see you on the next wisdom walk.